much anymore. It's a little concerning, but not alarming like before. And she just said, see, it's okay. You can stand here. See, nothing happens. You know, so it's a good idea to face your fear. Okay, but anyway, these things are processed through your subconscious. Those so things that stick out are because there's a strong things it responds to for the fastest. So you want your subconscious to hear you speaking it. But in addition, if you do it, if that's the last thing you do before you go to bed, your subconscious will think about it all night because it's the last thing that it heard. Okay? So that plays out overnight. So sometimes, I go to sleep and I think, I say certain things before I go to bed. Okay? I'll express gratitude for money. I'll express gratitude for what I have, or I'll express gratitude for what a great day I had and what a great day I'm going to have tomorrow. So that's another thing you can do with your subconscious. You can prime yourself for the next day. Okay? You can visualize, okay, on your way to sleep what the next day is going to be like. Now you have to use a little bit of imagination, but it's not hard to do. Okay? It's not very hard at all you have to do is go. Well, I'm going to walk into the office. So you're planning, but you're planning out loud. I'm going to walk into the office and I'm going to get a head start on my files. I'm going to go through my paperwork. I'm going to get everything organized. I'm going to have everything organized by 10 o'clock, stuff like that. Okay? And it works. It works because the next day you're automatically inspired to get started. You're automatically inspired to do your tasks. Okay? Because you've prepped it overnight. So now your subconscious is used to it. By the time you get up in the morning, your subconscious is used to it. Okay? It says, yeah, okay, we're going to do this. Because your subconscious takes orders. Okay? It takes orders. It doesn't know right from wrong. It doesn't distinguish good from bad. It doesn't distinguish work from home. Nothing like that. Okay? So when you program your subconscious, it will serve you. It will do whatever it is you tell it to do. Okay, so be careful, right? Be careful, because you don't want to tell it bad stuff, especially before you go to bed. Okay, this is one reason why people say don't go to bed angry. Okay, people say that. It's not because of a Hallmark fantasy love thingy. It's not that. It's not like, oh, don't go to bed mad because you might die, and then and then you leave your love behind, and then the last thing was that you were angry. No, that's not why. It's because if you're angry and you go to sleep angry, what does your subconscious do? It does anger, okay? It processes the anger. In other words, you get more of it, okay? That anger starts becoming more or meaning more or becoming more significant. So this is why you don't go to sleep angry, okay? To clear up your subconscious. Now, the difference between conscious learning, okay, and subconscious learning. Okay, in your conscious mind, you're focused, you're analytical, deliberate, okay? That's where reasoning happens, okay? And your subconscious mind is and so this is focused learning with your conscious mind. You're awake, you're focused, everything is intent. Hi, Cooper, good morning. Wow, saw you last night. I see you this morning. Thanks for dropping by. Thank you for being here. So the conscious mind, everything is focused, deliberate. Okay, the subconscious runs underneath everything. So you don't know it's taking notes. You don't know what's going into the subconscious unless you're careful with your conscious mind. So this is why we say, okay, there's the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. When you have all three working in synergy or working together, or let's say it another way, working on the same thing, then things happen faster. Manifestation happens faster. Okay, so we could say manifestation, we could say accomplishing goals. So your goals become faster. I can't even tell you how this sharpened my game. It really, really sharpened my game, and I did not learn these things till right around 2007. But my productivity in my companies picked up in from 2007 on. They transformed overnight, and in 2010 we started Here for You Life Coaching. So and we started another company. Actually, we started we kind of revamped our production company into a consulting company in 2010. So we started two companies in 2010. But it was easier than if we had not gone through this process. If I did not learn this process, if I did not learn these things, it would have been way, way harder, way tougher. Okay. And you can look us up too. Our parent company is Voicemaster Enterprises LLC. And all you got to do is put us into any AI platform where you could put my name in there, and our companies will pop up, and you can go and look at them. They're online, they're functioning, they're a thing. Here's a practical example. Like I was saying earlier about the subconscious and how it learns. Let's say you're memorizing a speech, or you have to give a speech. Okay, so here's the thing. Here's a hack. Okay, read the speech from your papers onto a recorder. Okay, it could be your phone recorder. It could be like one of these. Okay, and you have a recorder on your phone. Read it into your recorder. Okay, then play it back from your recorder and listen to it, the whole speech. Okay, now the formula for memorization is write it once, speak it 3 times. Okay, so write it out first, the whole speech. Write it out by hand. Okay, not typing. Okay, you can type the drafts and everything, and when you get it just the way you want it, write it out by hand. That commits it to memory, or it helps. It helps to commit it to memory. So you write it once and you speak it 3 times. So after you write it, speak it 3 times. Read it all the way through. Okay? And here's what'll happen. When you're giving your speech, or even when you're practicing before you give your speech, you're going to be able to see in your mind, you're going to be able to see the words. Okay? Because you're writing it and then you're reading it 3 times. And that's committing it to memory. So try that hack. That works. That's good for speeches. Now, your subconscious loves repetition. Okay, the more the better. So let's say I use audiobooks a lot. Okay, and when I'm driving, I will run an audiobook with whatever it is that I want to learn in the background. And my audiobooks are not stories. My audiobooks are facts. That's just me. Okay, and teachers like to do those things. Okay, we like to learn because we like to teach, and we like to be up on our teaching. So we learn from different sources. We're always learning. We're always studying. I don't know if all teachers are like that, but in my family it's like that. My mom's a teacher. My dad was a teacher. I'm a teacher. My son was a teacher. My son was a drill sergeant, a different kind of teacher. My mother was an elementary school teacher. My father was a professor. Okay, but anyway, so these things, right, happen, and if you just leave something on in the background. Okay, now here's the thing, right? You know how when you watch a movie, and then you watch it again the second time, and then you see things that you didn't see the first time. Okay, so this is your reticular activating system. Okay, your reticular activating system works like a filter. So it filters out things that you're not focused on. Okay, so think about that. That's why when you watch a movie again, you see things that you don't remember from the first time. Okay, and this is because you have that selective thinking based upon what you're focused on. Okay, so when you listen to things, it's the same way. If you listen to an audiobook the first time, the second time you listen to it, you're going to hear things you didn't hear the first time. So I tend to leave one audiobook on for like a week. And every time I get in my car, I hear something else, something else, something else. And pretty soon I've accumulated a lot of different information. And this goes straight into your subconscious. So this is very useful for you guys. Now I teach this to managers. I teach this to CEOs. I teach this to attorneys, to doctors. And you'd be surprised, like even I had this psychologist who was my client for quite a while, and he did not do things this way. And I was like, wow, that's strange. Like, he's all about the brain. He's all about, that kind of study, right? He's all about that, that field, but he didn't do any of it, you know. But I teach my clients these things, and my singing school clients, that's a little bit different. But what we do in the singing school and the way the companies work together, the way my companies work together. Okay, so at the singing school, we start them off in with voice for their confidence. Okay, after they're confident, and this takes about 3 to 4 months, when they're like super confident. Okay, then the question becomes, well, now that you're confident, what are you going to do with it? The answer is here for you, life coaching, because they start with the vocalization process. Okay, then we add in the other three pillars, right? Because it's affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. They get the vocalization at the voice school. Okay, then we move them into life coaching. Then they get the other three pillars. Okay, then we work with them there, and then we define goals. We have them set goals. Okay, it doesn't matter what goal you're setting in the beginning. Okay, you can have very light, accomplishable, say 30-day goals. And here's the thing that you need to know about the subconscious. When you start setting goals and you start accomplishing goals, the subconscious is like a muscle. It gets better at it. It gets better at delivering quicker. Okay, because you sharpen. It's like being a quick thinker, right? The more you sharpen your thinking, okay, the better you get. And it's the same thing. Good morning, Wolf to Wolf Dog. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming by. My gang over here on the chat. So anyway, so exercise your subconscious. Okay? Put it to work. Give it instructions. Here, this is how you do it. Okay? So you get a legal pad like this, or any writing tablet. Okay? These are affirmations. These are not this is not journaling. Okay, journaling is different. Now there's certain kinds of journaling that's good for you and certain kinds of journaling that's bad for you. Let's say, for example, you've accomplished some goals. Okay? And let's say that you're journaling your successes. Okay? That's a good thing. Now, if you're just journaling, like, writing in a diary about what happened during the day, okay, what you're really doing is you're taking yesterday and now you're bringing it into today. Okay? So now, and sometimes the journaling includes things from the past, right? Okay, history. You take that history and now you're bringing it here in the present. Now it depends. Do you want this in the present? If you're writing about drama, do you want this drama in the present? Do you want drama at all in the present? Okay. When you're writing about it, you're revisiting it. You're waking your subconscious up and you're going, hey, remember that? Remember that? Okay. And sometimes you'll even get mad. Okay. Sometimes because the emotions follow the thoughts. First you think the thought, then the emotion follows. So if you get this idea while you're journaling, oh yeah, that's right, this happened, and you start writing about that episode or that event or that whatever traumatic event, okay, now you're writing about that, you're going to start to feel it. Okay, so your emotions will kick in. So now what are you doing? You're imprinting this on in your subconscious. Okay, this is why I look at some forms of therapy as not productive at all. Why? Because they keep reinstilling these things, these thoughts. And thoughts become things. If you take a thought, or let's say you're thinking about something that happened quite some time ago, and now you're thinking about it right now. Now it brings an emotion. It goes into your subconscious as a program. If you do it, more than a few times. Okay? But what happens when you do that? You start thinking about it. You can't help but think about it because you've made it a recent topic. You brought it from the past and you brought it here. Okay, this is one reason why when you have a relationship scenario, right? You don't want to keep bringing the past into the present. Okay, because you renew it. And then what? Then the bad feelings renew. Right? Then the bad habits ensue. Okay? Because the subconscious is now aware of it. the subconscious goes, oh yeah, that's right. You know, until today, there's certain things I can't even remind my parents about. Because if I remind my parents, they're like, yeah, you were a brat. Like, whatever. I mean, I'm just saying, whatever, right? So if you leave it alone, chances are nobody will bother with it, right? So try your best to leave the past in the past, okay, unless it was good. If it was good, write it down because it's good to build on your successes. Okay, you need to see yourself as a success in order to succeed. Because how you see yourself is going to depend on how your life unfolds. Because your life unfolds from here like this. Your life unfolds for you. Okay, life happens for you. It doesn't happen to you. If you think life is happening to you like this and you're just reacting to it, or you're just dodging bullets all the time, then you're living in victim mentality. Okay? You're living in victim mode. Those are the people that think life always happens to them. They woke up this morning and this happened. They woke up this morning and that happened. Now they got to deal with that. They got to deal with this. Okay? I wake up in the morning, I don't deal with anything until I do my life. I do my meditation. I do my meditation, do my affirmations. Okay? I'll do my vocalization, visualization. I normally do my visualization in my meditations now. Okay? And you'd be surprised what I see. And you'd be surprised at the people I see. Okay, so the first universal law, the law of divine oneness, tells us that we're all connected. Okay, we're connected through awareness. You're not your body, you're not your name, you're that energy, that spirit that lives in here. You're a spiritual being having a physical experience. You are both spiritual and physical. Okay, because the spirit is in the body, that energy. Okay, the body is anchored to the world. Your spirit never touches the ground. Your spirit cannot sin. Okay, your spirit can't do anything except instruct the body. Okay, the body sins. The body does that. Okay, so one of the sins, right? Gluttony, right? Eating too much. Okay, here, guilty. Okay, but who does that? The body or the spirit? Well, the spirit commands the body to do that, right? Because you got to pick it up with these, right? You gotta, right? You gotta eat, right? Like that. Okay, so yeah, but that's how it works. Okay, so just understand that feeling guilty about things, okay, feeling anxiety about things, especially things that you did in the past that were mistakes. Okay, let them, one of my uncles used to say, "Let sleeping dogs lie." Let the sleeping dogs sleep. Okay, because if you wake up the dog, right? You don't want to wake up the dog. People that are from the country, you guys feel me? Okay, you wake up the dog, you don't know what mood the dog is gonna be in. Okay, so let sleeping dogs lie. Okay, leave those things alone, because every day that you wake up, you have a new chapter. Okay, they're small chapters, they're 24-hour chapters, right, or whatever. Okay, but you have a new chance. You have a chance to renew. You have a chance to redo. You have a chance to recover. Okay, all the re's. Okay, you have a chance to reevaluate. Okay, all of these things, and you can do this every day. And major accomplishments are not done in a day or in a couple of days. Okay, if you read the book by James Clear, Atomic Habits, it illustrates how tiny little incremental changes over time amount to huge change. So what that suggests is we just make a small change today. Little change. I'm going to work 10 minutes early. Small change. Okay? Then tomorrow the question becomes, can you do it again? This is how my uncle got me. Okay, my uncle, my mom's youngest brother was my first mentor. And this is how my uncle got me to change. Because I was hard-headed, I was having fun, I was running around with some very dangerous people, and it was fun. It was adrenaline filled all the time. So, anyway, I used to work with him. So he used to tell me, look, can you just come to work and just do your job one day, without any drama, without complaining about anybody, without being negative, without all this? Can you just do one day? And I was like, yeah, I can do one day. So I went to work. We used to wash big trucks, big rigs, 18-wheeler rigs. And so he used to let me, park them and move them into position. So it was a lot of fun because I'm not a truck driver. But for a while there, I was moving these big rigs, and it was a lot of fun. It was a learning experience. I like to learn new things. So this is how you run your life on autopilot. Okay, or let's say form good habits, because that's what you need to do. Now with the digital age coming, there's going to be a lot of things to learn. Now it gets frustrating when people throw a lot of stuff at you at once. But that's what's going to happen. A lot of stuff is coming down the pipe really quick. Okay, I've been learning digital applications for years. Years. The people my age are like, most of them don't want to deal with it. Okay. And in fact, my teacher tells me, whoa, because I have a teacher. Okay, believe it or not. Teachers love teachers, right? We like to learn. So I have a teacher. My teacher goes, wow, you're the only boomer that can do what you do that I've seen. Like, you're the only boomer that does these things. And I'm like, oh, he goes, yeah, I have boomers, but they're stuck. That kind of thing. But you have to be open. And this is why we open our clients first. The very first thing with their voice. Okay, because when they come to me, they're like this. Okay, this represents closed. This represents keeping to yourself. This represents shut off from everything else. This represents hiding in here. Okay, being introverted. And the first thing we do is go like this, right? And first thing is like this, relax them. Get them relaxed. Get them like this, like this, like this, and then boom, they're open. When a human being becomes open, it's a wonderful experience. Okay, I even have a thing I say about it now. I say human beings are like presents. You never know what's inside until you unwrap them. And that's what I do for a living. I unwrap people. And their gifts start to come out. They're natural gifts. Okay, things that they always wanted to do but never had the courage to do. Okay, once you get rid of this, okay, this represents fear, this represents anxiety, this represents tension, pressure, all of those things. Okay, once you get rid of this, what happens to awareness? Here, awareness is like this. Okay, when there's a lot of pressure, it looks like this is a visual, it looks like this. As you take off the pressure, as you allow them to open, or prompt them to open, or get them to open, awareness starts to look like this. This is very powerful in the human being. When awareness is like this, it's super powerful. Because you can take yourself from a situation, pull yourself out of the situation in real time. Okay? Instead of being stuck in the situation, you can pull yourself out, you can observe back in and look back into the situation. Take yourself out of the situation, look back in, all in real time, and observe everything involved. And what I'm talking about, like, say you're in a group of 3 people talking, or say you're in a meeting, you will have the power or the ability to remove yourself from that meeting and still sit there. Still sit there. Okay? I'm talking about a mental process. I'm talking about an awareness process. I'm talking about a thinking process. Okay? And you can remove yourself and then look back in on the situation and go, okay. And now you start to see more sides of the situation. Now you get to assess Okay, more of it, instead of just being directly involved in it, because you can't always see in it when you're in it. Okay, you can't really see it when you're in it, but when you remove yourself from it and then you look back inside, then you go, oh, okay. Okay, so that's the thing. And a lot of my executives, what happens is they come back and tell me, they go, wow, I never saw the system for what it really was. I'm just a cog in the wheel. I'm replaceable. And I'm like, yeah. But they make you feel special. Why do they make you feel special? They need your work. They need you. Okay. So they'll make you feel special. When the reality is, okay, well, you want to go, okay. And they get somebody else. Because there's a template for it. Okay. Now, yeah, you have your own skills. You have your own, mana, so to speak. Or we say that in Hawaii. It's life force, your own life force, your own blessings. Okay. But at the end of the day, everyone in the corporate world is replaceable. So you have to step back and you have to look and see it for what it really is. Some people chase the ladder, the imaginary ladder of success, and they climb the ladder. Pretty soon there's nowhere to go at the top of the ladder. The work keeps coming, okay? The money keeps increasing, but that's all there is. There's no more challenges. There's just more work, more money, more work, more money, more work, more money. What happens in that scenario? More work and more money is just running through that person. And pretty soon, burnout. It doesn't matter how much money you throw at somebody. They're a human being. They have limits. Okay, there's emotional limits, there's mental limits. Okay, there's patience limits, right? So there's emotional intelligence, right? There's all of those things that get placed in jeopardy because you become the conduit, because it just runs right through you. Okay, in the entertainment world, I saw this all the time. It was just more money, more money, more money, more work, more work, more work. Pretty soon, can't keep up with the work. Oh, well, there's drugs, and then the drugs start. Okay, and then the work and the drugs are just running through the same person. Pretty soon, rehab. That's the way it works. So there are vicious cycles in everything, but there are also calm cycles in everything. It's about mindset. It's about how you approach it. Thank you, lady. It's about mindset. It's about how you approach it, and it's about how you deal with it. So you can focus on God-made, or you can focus on man-made. If your attention is out here, man-made, okay, these are the titles, these are the degrees, this is the money, and you're not being mindful, okay, of this one, then you're going to have problems. Because out here, you will get stuck. Out here, you will have big problems. In here, no problem. Once you learn how to navigate in here, Jesus Christ said the kingdom is within. Once you do this one, get this good, right? You can handle anything. Because the more you meditate, for example, the more you meditate, the more you get into flow state. Okay, flow state, look it up, it's a thing. Okay, check it out, it's a thing, flow state. Thank you, I. Cooper. With flow state, okay, it's a state of mind. Okay, and it's flow. Okay, so you handle things. So people who hyperfocus, so I hyperfocus. Hyperfocus means that you can concentrate intently and focus intently for like an hour and a half to 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours. And when you break that focus, it's almost as if time flew by because you shut everything else out. It's a mindset, but it's flow state. Okay. Some people call it jamming, right? You just get down and jam, and you go through your inbox and you just boom, right? And it's all done. But the more you meditate, the more you can do these things with ease. One of my clients is going through her master's. So this morning I sent her a meditation. I said, here, do this. Do this meditation. Do this guided meditation. It will help you with your studies. It's going to make it easier. I don't know if she's going to do it or not. We'll see, right? But it's going to make it easier for her to just breeze through her studies. No pressure. Okay, sometimes you feel the pressure, but the pressure is minimal, and you can handle the pressure. Like the people I work with PTSD, military people. Okay, I work with a lot of military people with PTSD. I have done this so many times over the years. So many military people. It doesn't make the PTSD go away, but it gives them the switch. I call it the switch, so they can turn it off. Okay, PTSD starts, anxiety starts, it starts to build. Okay, they have the switch. They can turn it off, or they can minimize it. Okay, so PTSD never goes away, but it minimizes. So you flip the switch, and now it's manageable. Now you can take a few deep breaths, and now you can proceed. Some of my military people, when they get in a shopping center, there's a lot of people, right? They automatically get into PTSD mode. But with the training, especially with the voice exercises that I give them, the vocalization exercises, it calms them. Okay, but over time, over the sessions, in about 3 months' time, it gives them the switch. It gives them that handle on it, so that when it happens, they can push it down, move forward, push it down, move forward, push it down, move forward. That's what it's about. It's about going from the glass half empty to the glass half full. And how fast can you turn that? Okay, we talked about perception. I think it was about almost like 2 weeks ago. So I'll mention it again really quick. Okay, so perception. There's always two sides of perception, the positive and negative. Okay, there's two sides to everything. Now, sometimes when something happens, let's say you drop your favorite vase on the floor and it breaks or whatever, right? Where's the good part in that, right? Okay, so maybe you want to reframe and refocus. It's called reframing. When you take something that's negative, you reframe it into something that's positive. So when your favorite vase breaks, maybe, okay, well, number one, it's only a thing. Okay, it's only a thing. I got in a car accident once where this girl hit me with a Bronco. I was turning into my driveway into my building a long time ago, over 10 years ago. I was pulling into my building, and she didn't see me because she was looking at a GPS trying to find her friend's house, and she plowed right into me. Okay, but I have this training. Okay, so I got out of the car, and people started coming out of out of the woodwork, out of their homes, out of their, apartments and everything, looking, right? Because they heard this big crash. And I got out of my car, and the first thing I did when I looked at my car, I got out, I went, looked around the back of my car, and my car was all pushed in like an accordion. And I looked at it, and I go, damn, I just washed my car. That was my first reaction. Okay, this is about the car being clean or whatever. And then I looked across, and I saw her, and she was like maybe 19 years old. She was a baby, right? Sitting behind the wheel of her Explorer, or Bronco, I think, yeah, Bronco. And she was very, very distraught. Okay, and this is where the switch comes in. And I just flipped that switch, and I walked over to her, and I said, hey, are you okay? She said, yeah, I'm okay. She goes, I am so sorry. And she started crying. I said, don't worry, it's just a car. It's just a car. Nobody got hurt. It's just a car. It was my brand new G37S. Okay, it was I only had it maybe a year and a half. I was leasing it. Changing the thing around, like, okay, maybe now I can get a new car. Okay, the other thing that happened good, that was a blessing, my laptop was in the trunk and my laptop had been giving me problems. Guess what happened to the laptop? It got crunched in the trunk. Brand new laptop. Insurance covered it. Win win. Okay. There was nothing for me to complain about. The only thing I had to go through was waiting, right? You gotta wait. You wait for the check to come. Wait for the whatever. The wait came, right? But if this had happened to me a few years earlier, before I did this deep dive, before I started studying all this stuff, I would have lost it. Because I wouldn't have a handle on my emotions. I would have lost it. And sometimes, depending on the severity of whatever is going on, okay, it's difficult to pull that glass from half empty and go like this and then half full. Okay, that takes a while. Sometimes it takes a while. It didn't take long for me in the accident. It was relatively quick. Okay, it was relatively quick. But I'm just saying, like, some things, right? Some things. You know, my best friend was blind, and he used to play this guitar. I had this priceless guitar. It was a 1924 parlor guitar. It was one of a kind. It was one of a kind. One day he was playing it, and he stumbled and fell on it, and it snapped it in half. And I just stood there, and because I saw him fall on it, and I just stood there and I looked at it, and it took me a couple of seconds. It took me a couple of seconds. I wasn't like, oh, the guitar. I wasn't like that. I looked at it, and I was like, well, it lasted this long. It was good while it was good. You see, reframe, refocus. Okay, so when you reframe and refocus things, okay, now your perception changes. Okay, and sometimes you just have to observe the situation. Observe it, okay? Because you'll see that something that started negative, when you observe it, when you give it time, it changes on its own, okay? And that could be like how some people address you, how they talk to you. Maybe somebody comes off as rude. Maybe they don't mean to be rude. Maybe that's just them. Maybe they're just abrasive. Maybe they're just gruffy people, maybe, okay? Maybe they don't have too much class. My uncle used to have this term. He said, not too much class, but a lot of personality. Okay, maybe that's it. Okay, but if that happens, okay, with a little patience, right? You say something to check it out, and then the guy comes back with whatever it is, and it's not really bad. It's actually okay. Because at first glance, you think it's like this, glass half empty, but then it starts to change to the glass half full. So perception changes. We all have a different perception. Okay, not all of us are going to see the glass half empty, and not all of us are going to see the glass half full. But it's what it is for you. Okay, so when you see these things, have a little patience, give a little, give a little. Okay, I'm talking about giving a little slack. Okay, it's an expression. Give a little time, give a little space, allow the perception to change, because it will. Okay, so we're talking about the subconscious. Okay, we talked about repetition, visualization, affirmations, autosuggestion. Okay, so autosuggestion is saying things to yourself. Like, I easily understand and remember new information, stuff like that. Money comes easily, plentifully, and quickly. That's an autosuggestion. Those things. It's like an affirmation, but you don't have to write it out into an affirmation. Just speak it. When you speak positive things, okay, to yourself in your spare time, it tends to make your subconscious more positive. Subconscious learns in repetition. It will start to generate positivity because it's like a program, your subconscious. It's a culmination of all of your senses, but when you start doing positive actions, it learns the positive actions, and then it has you continue the positive actions. Okay, so sleep learning. Okay, so this goes into a yeah. So this is what I was telling you about. Going into sleep, right when you're just falling asleep. Say stuff. Say positive things. Say loving things. Say kind things. Say generous things. Say good things just before you sleep. You'll start to sleep better. You'll start to wake up better. You'll wake up in a good mood. You'll wake up ready to face the day. Okay, I have a client and I tease him about it. We have a walk meeting on Sundays. Every Sunday we do a walk meeting at a park down here. And we do like 3 miles. We walk for 3 miles and we do a meeting. And every time I see him, he's like that. And I'm ready to go in the morning, right? But then again, right, I've been writing affirmations for years. I have about 10 of these in storage. Okay, and they all start out with, I am so happy and grateful now that. So if it's two things that my subconscious is, it's happy and grateful. Because I've been writing that for years and years. Since 2007, I've been writing that. Okay, sometimes I miss a day. If I miss a day, I catch up. I write more. Okay? But it conditions your subconscious. People that come to me, my clients, they go, wow, you're so patient. You're so patient. I go, well, I'm patient because I'm happy. Happiness is a choice. Okay, you can choose to be happy. You can choose to be upset. You can choose to be depressed. Happiness is a choice. Don't make happiness conditional. In other words, like when I get my new house, I'll be happy. When I get my new car, I'll be happy. Happiness has nothing to do with that. Will the house make you happy? Sure. Will the car make you happy? Sure. But why are you going to wait till then? Why not now? Okay? Change your mind, change your life. Okay? I had to change my mind in my 20s because it was going downhill fast in my early 20s. Ooh, terrible. I slept on the sidewalk for a few months. Okay? And it was cold, especially around 4 o'clock in the morning. It was freezing. Okay, you're 25, you lost your job, car, and marriage. Wow. Sorry to hear that. I have nothing and I lost faith in God and feel so lost. Okay, why don't you write to me, junior@hereforyourlifecoaching.com, and I'll write you an email, brother. I take it it's a brother. Are you a guy? It just says F, so or just message me. Why don't you message me? And I'll give you some free tips that you can help turn your life around. Okay, just message me. So loss is something that we all deal with. When I was in my 20s, my early 20s, I lost everything I owned, like 4 times. Like the last time I got robbed, like somebody broke in my house when I wasn't home. I was renting one room in a house. I was just renting a small little place like that. They came in, they stole everything. So I've always had to start all over. So I could give you tips on starting over, brother. It's not over, okay? It's not over. You just have to start again. You have to pick yourself up and start again. It's difficult, but it's not impossible. So yeah, message me. So this is my volunteer work. Tonight I'm going to do more volunteer work. I don't know why we're just trying this. But we're going to do 7 p.m. right here, Hawaii time. So this is 7 a.m., 7 to 8 a.m. Hawaii time. And in the evenings, we're going to talk a little bit about what we talked about in the mornings, but it's going to be different. It's always a little bit different. you're interested in contacting the creator. Okay. Uh, I don't know how to do those things. Jay, do you know how to do that? I don't know if we need to push on that or whatever. Yeah, just message me, okay? And I'll talk to you and I'll answer your questions, and I'll give you tips on how to make all of that better. You need to focus on your purpose. First of all, you need to find a purpose, and then you need to focus on it, and everything starts to get better. You need to focus on here, in here. The kingdom is within. Everything that you need is inside yourself, okay? Because life goes like this. Life happens for you, not to you, and your life is going to get better. Okay. Sometimes we cannot see the light at the end of the tunnel. Sometimes things look hopeless, okay? And I'm talking about with jobs, sometimes it's politics, sometimes it's the country, sometimes it's the community or the economy or things like that. You've lost motivation and become so depressed, so everything you say I relate to. Yeah, no, I've been depressed once, clinically depressed once, like when I was in high school, when I was 17. So I feel you. Yeah. Just know it gets better, okay? Know it gets better, and know that the worst thing you can do is feel sorry for yourself. Okay? So don't feel sorry for yourself. Just know that you have to do a little work to overcome this, but it's mostly mental work. Okay? It's not so much physical. It's preparing yourself here. Oh, you're welcome, Mike Cooper. You're welcome. I'm glad I can share. I'm glad I could be of help. I'll be here tonight too, so you can drop by again tonight. I Cooper was here last night. She's such a sweetheart. Okay, so anyway, it's 7:59. I gotta get going. Okay, but just know that when you tap into what God gave you in here, because God lives in here, you and God, or whatever, however you believe. I'm not here to tell you what to believe. Okay, but you and God are partners. You guys are co-creators, like this. Okay, and all you have to do is understand what's in here. That's all. Just understand what's in here. It's written in all the holy books. Okay? Ask, believe, receive. You ask in here. Close your eyes. Okay? Close your eyes when you're asking, like this. Okay? And be still for 10 minutes. Maybe 5 minutes. Try 3 minutes. 3 minutes is a challenge when you're not used to it. It's because you're distracted into everything out here that things are going wrong. Because it's pulling you away from in here. It's pulling you away from the kingdom. It's taking you out of the kingdom and it's anchoring you out here. Okay? And none of this is real. Okay? None of these things you're being distracted into lasts. None of it lasts. This lasts. This will last you your lifetime. Yeah. Thank you, Wolf to Wolf Dog. Yeah, offer advice. We're all a big family here in the morning. Okay, so come and join us, you guys, if you can tonight. Okay, it's 8 a.m. in Hawaii. I gotta go, but we are going to release our international feed. Thank you, you guys. Thanks on YouTube. Okay, we shall see you guys soon. Hopefully, check us out tonight at 7 p.m. Hawaii time. It's 8 a.m. right now.